Yo, what's up, guys? It is your favorite podcast crew here, back at it again with another episode. This is episode number 106,000. Welcome to another MetaBreaking Sunday. It is your boy D Money, and I'm here with our amazing co-hosts per usual. We have in the middle of your screen everybody's favorite Florida Gator, everybody's favorite World of Warcraft professional, everybody's favorite auction house trader in the building, Warshack. And then on your right, we have everybody's favorite demon hunter, the demon hunter expert, the ex-oracle of Hearthstone, Draco Cat.
The ex-oracle.
No,
welcome, guys. Another
by like
day.
1 point.
Yeah, well, hey. Still not over it, Warshack? Still.
No, that doesn't bother me at all. Totally just doesn't bother me. No big.
Well, welcome, guys. We have a fantastic episode for you today. We have some new cards to talk about. We have the new mini set that's coming, but we're gonna talk about the meta first. Just the regular schmegular degular meta that's been going on. First of all, I mean, how is everyone's day? Personally, it is the Jewish New Year for me. It's Rosh Hashanah, and I will be celebrating a little later tonight with some family. But yeah, nothing
What are you
crazy
gonna
with me. Yeah, just going over my uncle's house. We're just gonna eat food. That's usually how the holidays go. So that works
Sounds
for
good.
me.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
But hey, I am pretty recovered from my tonsillectomy surgery that I had undergone a couple weeks back, and I'm back. Yeah, I've been killing it in Hearthstone, back in the top 100. Almost, I was top 50 for a little while as well. You know, I was
Very
actually
cool.
Yeah, I saw you. You're playing some Relic DH, right? You're playing a Relic DH?
I was loving on some Relic Fell DH. Yeah,
Really fun deck.
it's very fun.
Absolutely.
There's some
It's a great
really horrible matchups for it, like Wig Priest, that
Yeah.
sometimes you just totally get blown out. But the games you get to play, those games, those are fun.
What about Imp Warlock?
That's a really bad. That's not a good matchup either, honestly.
That's not good. I always
no.
struggle with that one.
Yep. Yeah, if they like get the early game stuff when you're playing Demon Hunter and you don't get like a Relic of Extinctions or something like that,
Yeah.
then you're just dead. Because like a lot of times if they play like the Rafam on 6, that's like a really weird pivoting point for Relic Demon Hunter, where you don't have all of your like removal and powerful stuff on board, and you're just kind of like trying to get to the late game. So a lot of times if they like play an infused Rafam or a whole bunch of the 3/3s and a risky bartender, you're dead. But
Yeah.
you know, if there's a
that's
hole
kinda
in
what it
their
felt
plan, it becomes a game though. You know, like just to be like it's not that bad of a matchup. But it's like, yeah, if they draw great, you there is no game. But if they don't, you know, you can win this. But Top of the Idol really helps for that matchup. In regards to like the different Demon Hunter decks. So the Fell one isn't really.
I'm so glad I
catering-
sold you on that.
What's that? You're so glad you
I
sold
said
me
I'm
on
so
that?
glad I sold it to you and you bought it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like so like for instance, like if you're playing against a Imp Warlock as a Relic Demon Hunter, you'd rather be playing like the Fenley like Phelan one typically, just because you do have an answer for the gigantic mid game board. Unlike the other one where the Fell package kind of relies on you getting a grip on the game a little bit faster. But
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
I think a Relic Demon Hunter is
anything
going to
that's-
be even more powerful though in the mini set. What do you guys think?
I think a lot of things are going to be more powerful in the mini set. Yeah, this mini set is looking pretty powerful altogether. I would say.
Strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very strong.
Especially if we get some buffs and nerfs at the same time. Do you think they'll do that at all? Or do you think
Nah.
we'll just... Oh, Jesus!
Let's-
Oh my god. I'm like trying to say words and my body's like, motherfucker, you're gonna turn into a werewolf. Yeah, do you think we're gonna get buffs and nerfs at the same time? Or we'll just see the mini set and then there'll be like a week or two and then buffs and nerfs? My god.
That's a good question. I honestly would imagine that we are going to get no, I don't think we're gonna get nerfs and buffs. I think they'll
No.
probably just release it and then they'll reevaluate later, you know?
Yeah, I feel like they don't really do that too often anymore. Before like even like an actual expansion, let alone like a mini set. But if they do, I feel like it's usually like in advance a little bit. Like it's not like the same day. And like this mini set is coming already in 2 days from now. Um, so yeah, it's almost here. I mean, we could like jump right into
Bro,
the mini set if we want to. Like I don't know, this meta is pretty much the same as last week. We got Hunter on top, same kind of thing, probably Beast Hunter. This is across all ranks that you're seeing right here. 56% still. Warlock is still pumping. The Imp Warlock, like that deck is with the curses especially. That deck is still very, very strong. And there's a very powerful card coming in the mini set for it. But yeah, I mean, same kind of decks being successful here. I mean, we could look at the top 1K real quick, see if there's anything crazy here. We got Holy Paladin in tier 2. Making a comeback.
That's pretty cool. I never would imagine that.
It's the stupid Mr. Smite gets buffed bullshit. It's
Is that really
just
what
the
it is?
same. Yes, it's the Mr. Smite righteous defense. Wait for your smite to get 30 attack and then go face. It's a control paladin with the smite finisher. That is all it is.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah, not yeah, what poor soul is playing this deck right now?
Oh God, it has one win condition and that is it. It is so like, oh God. Why can't Paladin get anything cool?
They got
Like,
some cool cards coming in the mini set, but yeah. Not really.
Yeah, but it's stuff that we've seen, like pure Paladin, like bruh, like we've been there, we've done that. Like we've had buff Paladin, it's like okay. Like Holy Paladin was like getting there, but Holy Paladin doesn't really feel very holy. It's pretty degenerate. Like the whole Mr. Smite, like
yeah, it's
shit.
very, very boring when you just when every game is relying on the same kind of win conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you win the same way every single game. You play Cariel, you make a big Mr. Smite, and that is it. That is the extent of the thought process. If you get Theo'd, you lose. If you get Mutanist, you lose. Like someone plays Viper, you lose.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but we got Priest still at the top here. The Naga and Blessed Priest, which are almost the same. I barely even know the difference anymore. But yeah, that deck is really, really good. Still, yeah. I don't know what to say about it. It's just really good. But if you queue the right match, if you queue the right deck against it, you'll win. Like if you queue like a control kind of priest, like a quest priest, or maybe even like the thief priest, then you got a really solid shot. But otherwise, you're gonna have a pretty brutal time, I would think. Maybe mage is okay against it because he just frees stuff and stall out, but
yeah, I do not like that deck from a piloting point. I've explained why a bunch of times, but you know, I'm glad. I guess there is a counter to Beast Hunter.
Oh, to Beast Hunter. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That's why Naga Priest is so good, right? Because
That's
like
true.
it's good against Beast Hunter, and there's other matchups it's just really good against too.
That is true. All right, we can just jump into the next thing, which before we go into the mini set, we do have a breaking news here. Ixar is going to be starting at Riot Games, and he's going to be the design director for League of Legends. If you don't know who Ixar is, he was the game director, I believe that's what it was, of Hearthstone. He just stepped down very recently, and he has just announced that he's going to be working on League of Legends. So, Warshack, what do you think?
I mean, that's huge, right? Like, he was very transparent when he was doing Hearthstone stuff. He did his AMAs, which was really fun. He was like very active in the community. He tweeted at people a lot. Like, he just seemed like he did the job and more, and he really cared about it. So, as we know, like Riot with League of Legends, they've got TFT, they have Valorant. They have LOR. I mean, Riot is doing basically every game that they've made has been a giant success minus LOR, but that was just because like they released card games way too late. It didn't like it's not the same as releasing like a TFT, which they were right on, Valorant, which they did a fantastic job at blending CS:GO and Overwatch together. So like with him moving to League, like they picked up like a really, in my opinion, very solid pick for their gaming roster of creating great games, which they have a very good track record at doing. So I mean, I could only see this as a win for Riot. And Riot, like we heard rumors about they're working on an MMO and they're working on a survival RPG style game, and so is Blizzard. So I mean, I'm really looking forward to the games that we have to in the future, because currently the games we are playing and looking forward to are 10 plus years old. I mean, look at like WoW Classic and stuff. I mean, we're revisiting expansions that have released 10 years ago, and that's new to us and good to us. But like, I want to see what the next step is with gaming in regards to just like what like we had, what was it, not MOBAs, but battle royale. Like that was after MOBAs, battle royale was the new genre, brand new game. A lot of Fortnite was huge. Apex came out of that, and then like now we're in this like middle period where we haven't seen a kind of a new genre. I mean, maybe auto battlers was it, but I don't know. I'm interested to see what the next thing is, and I think Riot will be in the mix for sure.
Yeah, Riot just makes good games, like polished good games. You got to give it to them, really. Besides League of Legends, I don't like that game, but Dota 2 is better. But that's a whole different debate.
Fair. Yeah,
Dota
it
2
makes
is
you one
different.
thing that makes me wonder here though is like League of Legends is kind of like a very much already a fleshed out game, right? So like what is he doing on League of Legends? Like is he actually like building new stuff for League of Legends, or like because I feel like that game is kind of already fleshed out to a degree, though it is extremely popular still.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that he's going to be working on that instead of like Legends of Runeterra, because he's just in the card game space, and like that game kind of needs help. So maybe I don't know. That's kind of like maybe they don't care.
I mean,
about
when they
L1.
create, I mean, for League, I mean, they did the map redo, they redid Baron, they redid Dragon, they have new character like creation, and then within the character creation, you have the design of the lore within the character and how it interacts with the world, and then you have that world building that like goes into Arcane. So I mean, there's a kind of a lot more to it, in my opinion, than just it's
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of
that's a
like
good
they
point.
know what they want. Right, like for Hearthstone, like you can kind of say the same thing, right? Like they know they have their mini sets, they know they have their expansions, they know when they kind of have to release them, and then there's like small events that trickle in, and it's kind of like on the back burner, right? Like that's their cash cow. Like they know what they have to do to print money. And League definitely the same way. I mean, fundamentally, the game isn't going to like they're not changing it every day, right? It's but like these how this ties into their other games and like the design and the lore, and then just like looking ahead, I definitely see I don't know, it being important, right?
Yeah, I mean this. Yeah, like you said, like this is their cash cow. Like this is their big game, of course, and there's probably a lot of stuff that like they can just like infinitely just like make design stuff for this. Like people are saying in chat, like they do like special game modes and they introduce new champs and blah 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 every year. Like they do new stuff with this. So there's probably just like infinite like events and designs and whatever that you could do with it. So yeah. But that
Wouldn't be surprised
They're
though
gonna
if he's
debug
just trying
ARAM.
to enter the universe of Riot to be a part of one of the newer modes that they're creating, because Riot has been, what is the word, very creative in regards to their game development, and the fact that they're creating an MMO right now, and we know that there's a fighting game in development. Have you guys seen that as well?
I don't
I've
think so.
heard like again just rumors, just sprinkles of stuff, but I don't until they confirm it. I don't really believe anything. You know what I mean?
I mean,
That
the
I
art's
see for
already been
sure.
released, and they did confirm that it's in development. So they're creating like a Smash Brothers Soul Calibur style fighting game with all of the league characters. So you can be like Jinx versus Echo, and like it's all like button mashing and stuff. It should be really cool when that happens, because that was like obviously the kind of game that I was like the first kind of game that I was really good at. So I'm very excited to play the fighting game. That
You
they
were good
make.
at a game? I'm
know,
kidding.
right?
I'm kidding.
Rising.
Now, fighting games are really fun. I love. I currently love Brawlhalla. I think that game is amazing. But like I've always been a fan of like Super Smash and stuff like that. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, always down for any new games are just fun. But
If you look up the
anyway,
art for it though, you'll be like fucking hooked because like this first when I wasn't really that excited about it until I saw like the user interface of the fighting game and I was like, oh man, this is like next level fighting game for like they're making a fighting game that they can build an esports around because Super Smash Brothers kind of missed that call to opportunity intentionally a million times, right?
yeah,
So there's no fighting game
Because of
professional game
Nintendo.
that can be.
yeah,
Like
pretty
yeah,
much.
like I mean, I guess
But the
people
fighting
sometimes
game
say, like, Soul
competitive
Calibur.
scene, I mean, the fighting game competitive scene is very loyal. Like they're hype, like they are there, but it's just not like big. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of money on the line. They're not huge events like League and stuff. So definitely, like you said, Draco, having like a solid esports around it, like building it for the
There could be
ability
a sport
to
around
scale it with
fighting game.
esports. Yeah, it is going to be really key. Because I mean that's what drives a lot. Like I don't particularly play League often. I don't play Valorant, but when I see Valorant tournament with 100K views on Twitch, I go over there just to give them my view and support because that's important. And you know what I mean? That's important for the games. It's important for esports. So
Yeah,
definitely.
for sure.
I like.
agree.
There's a really cool conspiracy theory in chat from Redbook. Perhaps Dean is still loyal to Blizzard, but maybe he's a spy and he's going to sabotage from within. Yeah.
There
I
goes
don't know.
Red Book
Redbook back on thin ice.
It's got to be the case. I'll
That's
accept
gotta
nothing
be
else.
it, dude.
All right. So our next topic is the new mini set for Hearthstone that is coming, like I said, in 2 days from now. It's coming on Tuesday. It's dropping. It's called
This is
Maw
great.
and Disorder.
Oh man, we didn't bring
Terrible
we
timing.
didn't choose Sylvanas to talk about her. We should just start with her. as
She's
our-
boring.
How
yeah,
is she
I didn't
boring?
think she was really worth talking about.
The-
honestly, yeah.
Bro,
You don't think she's gonna
like,
get played a lot?
really? What?
I think she's good.
No.
I think she's good, personally.
You think she's like a meme or something,
Nah.
bro?
I don't think she's a meme. It's just a 6-mana 5/5 destroy a minion. Like,
Or take control
that-
of it?
but infuse 7? That's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely. I feel like you might be able to throw that card in Relic Demon Hunter, and then like late game, it's like cracked because you can play it with like Bran and stuff.
All right, now I gotta bring it up. Hold on.
But if you take it, no, it won't work with Bran, right? Because like
Yeah,
you're,
well,
you're
you still get to
targeting an
target the
opponent. You
second
can't take
one.
it twice.
You won't get to target the second one, but it will mind control a random enemy.
Oh, it'll grab
don't
it.
think it
It'll
does.
just be a random. Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
it works
they-
like that.
I read it, and one of the devs confirmed that if you brand
Oh, back
Sylvanas-
to Draco confirms. Back to this confirming things. We all
Yeah,
learned how that worked out.
Sources just trust me, bro. Yeah.
Oh shit.
I swear I read it
But
on
yeah, I
Reddit
mean,
somewhere. Yeah, I don't know.
So just
Okay. Take control of an enemy minion. You target it. You don't. Why would Bran not take control of another minion? I'm totally willing to have a conversation
Because
about this, but-
people said that it's like it's kind of like the same wording as like insatiable devourer, like because you just like do the target and then it just like goes off
Yeah.
twice.
But if
Yeah.
you use Bran with Insatiable Devour, it'll just pick a random thing on the board and eat it.
No. You eat it. You eat the minion twice or the same.
Oh,
minions
right,
twice,
because
yeah.
you gain its stats twice. Right. Okay, that's what's
yes.
duplicated. when
So
you play
if
it.
there's 4 minions, right, and you brand the 3 most right, it'll just kill the 3 most right again instead of killing the one on the left, the extra one. That, you know what I mean? I feel like it's gonna be like that.
Yeah,
I think that's actually a compelling argument. So I guess we'll just have to see. But it would be neat if it did take both, like an old.
Yeah,
instant
that
tweak.
makes it a lot better.
It does make sense.
That makes it
like,
better.
with the wording. Like you could take it either way. That's how Hearthstone cards go. Like most of the time is you don't know until
We
you
have to
play
test
with
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause they
But
don't-
let's be honest.
yeah.
I don't think I would be surprised if it worked in either way. Like both of the
Mhm.
options make sense to me from the wording.
For
so.
sure. But I do think this card is good, just overall. Like, even if you just destroy the enemy minion, you
It's
don't even
okay.
take control of it. Like, it's still a 6-mana 5/5, which isn't great stats, but I mean, it's a solid card.
I don't know,
It-
man. I
It
expected.
does what Demon Hunter has problems with. It does a single target removal with like an unconditional effect. So like even if you don't get to infuse it in Demon Hunter, what it does, it fulfills a gap that already exists. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I expected a Sylvanas and the Jailer to be like the big flash cards, like those that was like the giant shit. I don't know. I expected more. Like not a hero card, but like I don't know, just like a bigger effect, like Sire to Nathrius level effect, where like it's
Ends the
just so
game.
good and a lot of decks play it. Yeah. I just expected like a big banger for like a 10-mana 10/10, and again, Sylvanas being literally more powerful than the Lich King an expansion and a half ago. Like I expected her to be like not the same as she was when it first released. Instead of a death rattle, it's a battle cry. So.
Yeah, well, I kind of liked they stuck to like the same kind of flavor with what the card used to be, personally. But yeah, I don't know. It's not so exciting. But
They could have made her like a 10 mana 10/10 summon, infuse 10, summon 7 or summon
Banshees.
6 minions that died. You know, like it just is like a mass
Summon
wreck.
6 banshees of the stats that minions that died. You know what I mean? Just something big like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like some kind of like
yeah.
huge late game like finisher.
I'll show you a
that-
huge late game finisher. How about the Jailer? Right here, bang. 10 mana 10/10. Battle cry, destroy your deck for the rest of the game. Your minions are immune. This is a
So
crazy effect that we've not seen in the game before.
yes, so for immune, just so Chad understands the effect, for those of you who may not be familiar, it's similar to like Raid Boss Onyxia, where it will die to stuff like Twisting Nether. It dies to stuff like Deadly Shot. It dies to stuff like Shadow Ward Ruin. But it does not die to like it cannot be targeted by hero powers or spells, and it doesn't take damage.
It can be frozen.
It can be frozen, but it's not like the Juggernaut, where it can't like you can't disrupt the Juggernaut.
Yeah, this card is very interesting. Of course, you're destroying your deck, so I don't think this card is so great right now because there's really no way to shuffle cards back into your deck besides like Kazaku-san. But if you're running two with both of these in
Queen.
your deck, like you're crazy. What?
The Queen.
Okay.
The Queen.
But,
The Tides.
Yeah, whatever. That's not.
You said there's no cards, and I just gave you a card.
I said
So
there's like no cards.
I was
Okay,
just
guys,
I gave
let's
you an
calm down.
example immediately.
Well, when you do this, you're basically relying on your whatever you have on the board currently and whatever's in your hand to close out the game. And of course, like we said, like immune does not like if you have a taunt minion, like immune gets rid of the taunt, or else that would just be insanely OP. And so like you need to close out the game and you need to not die in these next few turns. Like it's a very powerful effect, of course, like making everything immune. Like there's only those like select cards, mostly in Priest, that deal with this. Maybe like Warlock as well, like they have Twisting Nether, but it's only like Whirlpool and like Shadow Word Ruin. Like there's only a select cards that deal with these immune minions, and so it is very powerful. But is the trade-off worth it? Are you gonna be able to stay alive? I don't know. It's
I think
feel
this
like
is a wild card.
Yeah, probably. I feel like the one thing that people don't talk about a lot is like summoning a 10 mana and 10/10 immune isn't something we would do, right? So the follow-up turn after you play this needs to have like a pretty win the game like game plan. So like I can see it being used in like Warlock in some weird way with doing something broken that already exist. But I feel like most classes aren't going to be able to make use out of this. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like this is a very
This is
powerful
definitely
card, but not yet.
Yes. It's a uniquely powerful ability, and it's only going to work in a very few subset of decks. And I think those decks will mainly be in Wild. But I do believe there might be one, maybe two, decks in Standard that, again, won't be great, but they will exist. And it'll be like a combo that if it does go off, it's going to be really hard to beat. We just don't see it in the vacuum right now. Like once it gets played, and then you've got hundreds of thousands of people playing with the card, building decks, trying to get this card to work. there will be something. I mean, you see Naru Fireblade, but obviously that's not good enough. But just stuff like that, like destroying your deck is not the end of the world, but definitely not something you would actively try to do. So
Yeah, this card is like really scary though if it's actually good. Like,
oh yeah, I mean then Twisting Nether becomes good, Brawl becomes good. There's a lot of there's a decent amount of cards that deal with this, but like you don't really want to have to do that.
speaking of Brawl, actually before we get into more single cards here, there were Demon Hunter cards that were just revealed about an hour ago.
Yes.
And we actually have new cards I think that are being revealed in a few minutes too.
We'll check them out live.
Yeah, but these are the new Demon Hunter cards that just got revealed. There's a Fell Spell, 5-mana Fell Spell. Summon a friendly demon that died this game, and then if you infuse it with 3 demons, then you summon 3 demons that died this game. Which, that's a lot of demons.
That's a lot of vengeance. I feel like this card is potentially like the best big Demon Hunter card ever, but that archetype historically hasn't worked. So I think the problem that and I always have kind of attested that the issue with big Demon Hunter is the lack of something like Eternal Servitude or like Resurrection for Demon Hunter. So like once you're able to cheat out the large demon, there isn't a way to efficiently bring it back into play immediately. And this card does exactly that. The one thing that I feel like is also kind of crazy is the concept of summoning 3 big demons for 5 mana is ridiculously powerful, but the condition of demons dying that are diluting the same pool that you're trying to res from really makes it so that this card is you're not going to get that a powerful effect off until like I don't know, like turns after 10. Even if that is what you want. Like if you want to summon 3 Inquisitors or 2 Inquisitors and a Tormentor or something like that, you're going to have to you're going to have to let all those things die. One thing that is an interesting thing to think about though is 1 Zillig does infuse the whole fucking thing.
Yes, it does.
It does put all the stocks into the pool.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's worth it.
Too, right?
Yeah, they are all different. But if you did hit a Zillig on the Fell Breaks Loosed, and you hit 2 stocks, it would be a Zillig and a full board of stocks.
Yeah,
and that's
it's not
pretty
that bad.
decent for 5 as well, you know?
So, yeah, this is another card that I think could be...
With that use
really
case,
nice
after explaining it, I think this card actually is good. Just because you play Zillig, and if you're holding this in hand, it's another better Zillig most of the time.
I mean, are you... Even if it's just Zillig that died, like, it's still not even... It's less.
It's 5 mana. So it's a cheaper.
Zillig is a demon too.
Yes.
Right. So if he summons Zillig again, then that summons
all the
tentacles again,
and then 2 more.
Yeah. So then you have 6 tendrils in 1 Zillig.
I mean, the odds.
That's a fun meme.
The odds are that you're not gonna get Zillig though, if that's all that died. I think.
I mean, it's actually like around
It's like a 40% or something.
Yeah.
No, more than that. Are you on drugs?
No, so if you only have the Zillig die, there's 4 stocks in the pool and 1 Zillig. So every single time that it'll roll that. So it'll be like a 1 out of 5, a 1 out of 5, a 1 out of 5. You know, like
so 100%,
which is more likely than 40% after you're rolling them.
Yeah, so if you're a good player, you get it 100%. If you're bad, you don't. Simple as that.
Well, yeah, I think this card will be more powerful in the future for sure. Like if they actually make some big demons and there's a way to cheat them out or something. But I mean, yeah, Hearthstone is all about mana cheating out things. So
if this just said summon demons that cost more than 5, it would instantly be amazing.
This is gonna be one of those cards that's really hard for people to refine. It's gonna take forever for someone to figure out this deck. But it is good enough to the point where you might be able to build a deck around it, because that effect working out in the most beneficial way is a very interrupting board. If not, like if you have 2 Inquisitors in this, it's a 16 damage.
That's
that's crazy.
The Inquisitors,
you know?
3 Inquisitors.
They're dead.
Juice.
That is very inquisitive of you. Yes. But we also have another card here. One more card. Sightless Magistrates, 4 mana, 5/4. Battle Cry. Both players draw until they have 5 cards. Jeez, that's a lot of cards.
Draco's happy.
This card's crazy, dude. When I first saw this, I had to read it about 3 times. I was like, wait, no way. Let me read
And
it
we
again.
both said the same thing.
Wait, no way. Let me read it again. Oh my god. It says draw, like it can draw 4 on a 5/4 for 4. That's ridiculous. This is like the card that your opponent top decks every fucking time they play their last card. That's exactly what this is. Just so you guys know. Like if you're playing an aggro demon hunter and they use all their cards, they always draw this next. Always.
This is crazy reload.
Yeah.
This like
It's really good consistency.
It's not a legendary.
With Magnifying Glaive.
Yeah, it's not a legendary. You can run 2 of them. And,
It's a common.
The fact that it's so much draw and that you already have like a decent amount of draw with like the legendary, the 4 mana 7/7, and then the weapon as well, the Magnifying Glaive. Like you can probably just run a 40 card deck with all low cost cards, and like this allows you to run the 40 card deck like because you're drawing so much so quickly. I don't know.
Well, I think this makes Dispose the Evidence a lot better too.
Definitely.
So.
Yeah.
That whole package
The
gets
whole
way
entire
more
thing.
consistent with this, because the problem
Yes.
with the Magnifying Glaive package is you get in this perspective where like your problem is that you don't have like any cards in your hand, and then when you draw a Magnifying Glaive, it instantly doesn't really do anything, because like you have to like hit in the face, and then you're going to draw a bunch of Furies that you can't play until the next turn if you want them to go face, right? So like this card kind of solves the gap of aggro demon hunter in a very aggressive way. It's a 5/4 on it too, which is not only is it like drawing you a whole new hand, but you're developing an aggressively statted minion simultaneously. So having 2 Magnifying Glaive, 2 Sightless Magistrates is like more than you're gonna need to like just use this package and kill people immediately.
It's a lot.
I ship it.
But yeah, we actually have breaking news right now, guys. 2 new cards were dropped right this second. I'm gonna show it on
Juicy.
stream. They're for Druid, everybody's favorite class, except for me or a lot of people. But hold on, why is this bugging out here? Can't really show it on screen.
Wow, that card's really good. Holy shit.
So this I'm sorry it's getting cut off here, but it's a 2 mana 1/3 Attorney at Maw. Wow, that's hilarious. Choose 1, silence a minion, or give a minion immune this turn.
That's super good.
It's like a really, really good aggro card, actually. It does like an instant, like it basically protects one of the tokens from trading like immediately on the board. So it's like a good card for the aggro token deck that like wants to get on board and maintain the board, because you get to trade into a minion and keep your token. So
Yep. Yeah, it's a 1/3. So it does cost 2 mana, but that's fine. I mean, because you're gonna want a minion to make immune anyway, so it's not gonna be your first play. And the silence lets you get around taunt. So yeah, this card's sick.
Yeah, it's not
oh
bad.
yeah, that's crazy, because you can actually give the taunt to like your opponent. You give the immune to your opponent's taunt, and then you get around it. It's like a silence, right?
Yeah.
That's super crazy.
Or you just
Okay, well,
silence
you can just
a
silence it.
minion. Yeah.
But I like the thinking there. That's
Yeah,
next level.
yeah.
Like, you
I
want to
mean,
go
both
for like
work.
both
Both-
effectively do it.
Yeah.
You know, like if it's better to
Yeah.
immune it versus silence it.
you want to go for the flashy play. Then,
Yeah, that's definitely how you gotta kill people with this card. You immune their taunt minion instead of silencing it, thus getting to go face. No
then
one will
they're
see it
like-
coming.
Yeah, then your opponent's like, wow, my opponent's an idiot. They just made my guy immune. I win. Like I have a immune taunt. This is crazy. And then you go face, and they're like, what? It works like that? Yeah.
I will definitely
Draco,
choose
your
the
mind.
immune
So
option
funny.
more than silence.
Yes.
If I get that opportunity.
That is so funny you saw it like that.
That is like always like the clutch way to use immune though, right? Like if you have targeted immune, you use it to silence a taunt, but this does both.
We have another card here as well. It's called Incarceration, and it is a 3-mana spell. Choose a minion. It goes dormant for 3 turns.
Whoa.
Holy crap.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a lot
That's
of
a long
turns.
time.
Yeah.
That's the whole game.
Wow. Okay.
It's like the closest thing to killing something they've ever made without killing a minion. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes. This is the Sylvanas. No, not Sylvanas. What was her name? She
Maev.
dormanted a minion for 2 turns of Battlecry. Yeah, Maev was pretty good. Like, she was really solid. But this is a turn on top of Maev. So yeah, this is, do we like this? Like, is this better than just killing it with like scales?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like
man.
this card's probably not.
It takes
gonna
up
see play.
It takes up a slot on their board though, which is, it could be important, right? Like, if you're just like dormanting a card, they only have 7 spots
I feel like that's a little bit
or 6
negligible
spots.
because that's kind of like a downside of like locations as well. But people kind of just sacrifice the downside all the time, you know.
Okay,
But
I'm just trying
But
to
I
sell
guess
it.
in tandem of locations, it does eventually. It'll reach a point where it is actually inconveniencing.
I mean, this card is just very powerful. It's you just can't deny that. Like for 3 mana, like if your opponent, like it forces your opponent to go wide instead of just like develop one big thing. So if like a shaman evolves a null pretty early on, you can stall it out for a bit and just like ramp up, and then you'll be able to deal with it. Or if like you're playing against like a hunter and they put like a doggy biscuit and then a ramming mount on like one guy, like you can just dormant that for a bit, you know.
Freeze them. Yeah. So this is also, should say, freeze a minion for 4 turns, because the turn it comes out, it also can't attack, right?
Unless it has rush, yeah, of course. Or yeah.
Yeah. So we could change this to get a better grasp. So for 3 mana, freeze a minion for 4 turns. Would you play that? And I'm pretty sure the answer is yes, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
the thing is-
actually,
yeah.
when you phrase it like that, absolutely, that's super annoying. But at the same time, like, would you play full? I feel like you would play a full freeze effect in Druid, but you wouldn't probably play like single target freeze, right?
I don't know, because you do Druid is all about stalling out that early game just to get the ramp. So
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Maybe it's a one of. I don't know.
This is actually really good anti-aggro now that I think about it
Yeah,
for
that's what I'm
like
saying.
early game.
But Hunter does have the Wild Seed card that does speed up the dormant cards. I believe that's all dormant cards, maybe.
That's actually an interesting interaction. So if you hit a Wild Seed minion with this,
I
and
think
then
it's
you play,
just
then they can
any
play.
card. Right?
No, it says your Wild Seeds
It does.
on it. Yep.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
so-
but that's an interesting interaction though, because if you do dormant a Wild Seed minion,
Yeah.
it will make it wake up earlier. So very funny. I don't think you want to use the dormant of this card on like Wild Seeds though, specifically. I feel like that is like the most low roll thing to use it on, you know? Because
Yeah,
if you use it on
probably
a
not.
stag,
Yeah.
they're also going to get another weapon, you know?
That is true. Yeah.
So why would you want to do that? You don't want to give them an additional weapon, right?
I mean, sometimes all the stall, that little bit of stall is all you need. So I'm not sure, but you could even use it on your own minion, I guess. If you want to, I don't know. You could though, if you want to just protect it. But yeah, I mean, it is different than freeze. I think you can freeze. You could compare them a little bit, but it is different. You can't interact with the thing that's dormanted, and
Remember, Maev was bad too. She was a 4
Maev
mana.
was bad.
Yeah.
No,
That
she
makes
wasn't.
me
She
like
was
have
great.
a little bit less faith in this because like everyone thought Maev was gonna be good because she's also like more tempo centric because she's a minion. 4 mana. It was a 4 mana card, so it costs 1 more for a 4/3 body, and it was dormant for 1 less turn. I feel like in most situations, Maev would probably be better than Incarceration, but she was a legendary, so you couldn't really build a deck around her because, yeah.
I just think this works.
This also,
Yeah, sorry. This card. I just think this card works really well in this class. Like Maev, you can use in anything, and it really didn't find a great spot in like anything. But I think having access to this as a druid, like especially like I've been saying, like with they need the time to ramp up. So I think it just like works really well in this class personally. Like any other class, I don't think it would be playable.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Maybe warrior, but that'll be it.
Yeah.
It's not a nature though, which makes it a little worse. You know, not being able to synergize with shrubby wubbies, but still good.
Yeah, you barely even want it to be a nature spell because then you could draw with the 4-mana card, the wild seed, whatever guy, wild.
So you think this would be worse as a nature or not? You think this would be worse as a nature card? Really?
I mean, just for that reason, because with the 4-mana 3/2 guy that ramps you up, like you want to draw nourish off that guy usually, or like have like a chance to draw nourish. So only in that regard it'd be worse, but
okay.
But this is also just another card that's in the druid pool for when you play the 1-mana spell to discover a spell, and like that could be like a really insane card to get randomly if you need it. But yeah, we have some other cards to talk about. Those are just the new ones that just dropped. We have we chose some juicy cards that we can discuss a little bit. Speaking of some disruption, we can talk about Call to the Stand. This is a 1-mana spell for warrior. Your opponent summons a random minion from their hand. This card is insanely powerful.
So,
jeez.
Yes. So I actually reviewed this card earlier today for one of my review videos, and I was thinking about it. And if you show this card to like a new player or like just a player who doesn't know much about like Hearthstone, you'd think that you're playing a card for your opponent. Like, why would that not be good for your opponent, and why would this be a good card? Like, just fundamentally, like the goal is to play minions and then you attack with them and win, and you're just helping them do that. But right now, we're at a point in Hearthstone where like 80-90% of the minions being played in decks are battlecry effects, or they're combo activators, or they're synergistic cards that go for like a giant win, like Bran and Sire to Nathria. So when you play a card like this, very similar to we've seen in the past, like Dirty Rat, pulling a minion out of your opponent's hand, not allowing them to play it when they want to play it, and disrupting that hand and disrupting those combos and making them not be able to trigger those battle cries is actually better and for you in the long term than actually just allowing your opponent to like play. Like them playing the minion is better for you than not, just solely based off canceling out that battle cry. So it's kind of weird to think about. But yeah, this card's amazing, like Dan said. Like this card is so good for warrior, and they're going to benefit a lot from this, especially the control package.
Yeah, this card is a crazy card to have.
I feel like it's contingent on like the power level of Control Warrior, though. Just to be honest, like I feel like yes, this card does allow you to bring like 2 Dirty Rats in Standard again now, which is really awesome interruption. They even still run Dirty Rat in wild decks, right? However, like if Control Warrior is ass, this card will remain as such.
I mean, this is like exactly what Control Warrior needs, because like Control Warrior does have like brawls and like shield shatter, so they have the removal. They just need like a way to like do something. Like they don't really have a great win condition right now. I'm not sure. I haven't thought about like Jailer or something, but they don't really have a great win condition, and so taking away your opponent's win condition, that could be their win condition.
That's still the best case scenario for the card. Like you could just pull like the Taunt Dragon or something.
I mean, yes, but like now you have on top of Theotar and Mutanus with probably Bran in your deck. Now you have Call to the Stand as well. You can run 2
just more
copies of it.
disrupted.
And it's like crazy to see Dirty Rat effect, which was a neutral card, like in a specific class. Like that just like that adds a lot of power to a class by itself, I think. And especially a class that has like removal, like Warrior, like I was saying. And somebody in chat, Justice213 said this is not a good card. And you're right, it's not a good card. It's an exceptional card. All right, this card's crazy good.
I think you guys just have like Control Warrior bias. Honestly, like you both love Control Warrior, and it's coming through. But like if this Control Warrior isn't good, that this card is also not good.
Absolutely. I fully admit that I am control warrior.
I have a
biased.
problem.
There's no
I
doubt
admit
about it.
Yes.
Yeah, but if control warrior is not good,
Like,
this is not good either. You guys know
I still
that.
think it needs a win con. I don't think this is I think this is good, and it should disruption is fine. It should exist. Theo is fine, should exist. But I do believe that control decks targeted before. I don't think the old way that control decks won with the fatigue and the girl that added 10 cards to the deck. I don't think those are fun games. I don't think those are the games that we want to play. I think playing them is exhausting and not very fun. Control decks do need a win condition. You do need some big payoff. Right now, that's Sire to Nathria for the most part. But, do I think Control Warrior needs to do this and it's all disruption and no actual winning? Probably not. But this is a step in the right direction-ish.
Yeah, so I have a few things here. So I mean, I think Kazaku-san is probably the best win condition that Warrior has at this point. That we see in chat. Golf makes a good point. You could get this from School Teacher, and that's a really powerful outcome to get another one of these, to get the third Call to the Stand. And then Justice is saying that you lose tempo when this fails. The whole thing about when you played a card like Dirty Rat is that you're not playing these cards when you don't have a way to remove whatever is coming out from your opponent's hand. So yes, like Rob was saying before, to certain players, it seems like a weak card probably because you're giving your opponent something, and it's never good to just summon opponent, summon minions usually, but you're typically playing this card when you have a way to remove it, like a shield slam with armor, or a shield shatter you're prepared or something with, or you have just a brawl or something. Your opponent already has a pretty wide board, you summon another thing, and then you brawl it up. That's usually how these cards are played. And that's what makes them so powerful, because you're taking the card out of their hand, and then you're instantly removing it if you need to before your opponent can even interact with it. And that's the most powerful thing in Hearthstone is uninteractivity. So yeah,
it does
Yeah,
really allow you to
remember
your opponent's game plan, which is typically good. So
yeah, I remember back in the day. We ran Hecklebot, for God's sakes.
Hell yeah.
And
love that card.
we would go Dirty Rat Brawl just to fill up the board. So you, as we know, if Warrior's popular, people are going to play around Brawl, right? They're going to play 1 to 2 minions, and then they won't develop more. So when you have a card like this, and especially you mentioned in chat that Naga School Teacher can pull this now, and you can brand out and go brand Naga School Teacher, double call to the stand, or even 1. Your opponent has 2 minions out, now they have 5, and
You're
you
getting
brawl.
excited, Rob.
You win. Yeah, you that's wet. That's juiced. That's Moo Moo Mr. Power Wagon. So I don't know. It's good.
Yeah, so the thing to note is that this is slightly it's different than Dirty Rat, but Dirty Rat actually has you're summoning a minion, so it makes the brawl better. And this one doesn't do that, so you kind of need your opponent to have a little more minions on the board if you don't have this from the Nagaling from School Teacher. But regardless, this is so good, and it's 1 less mana than Dirty Rat. I am very excited about this card, and this card actually gives Warrior a lot of hope, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's crazy we're talking about a 1 mana card summoning a minion for our opponent for this long. This is our longest debated card so far.
Exciting.
It's really funny. Yeah, 10 mana, 10/10, make minions immune, destroy your deck. Nah, 1 mana to summon a minion from your opponent's hand. Yeah.
I totally agree though that this kind of stuff is the stuff we're gonna see in a lot of games if it's good, versus the Jailer has a little bit less possibility of being a competitive card that you can play with frequently. So
Order in the Court. That's our next card, by the way. 2 mana Paladin spell here. Reorder your deck from highest cost to lowest cost. Draw a card.
Carry a tutor.
Who?
It's Pool Kelp, but better.
It just draws your Karya.
Yes.
Next turn.
Cariel.
That's really busted. This is gonna make Paladin better.
Cariel into Courier, or not Courier. What's her name? The
Smite. Cariel.
No.
Smite.
Oh my god, dude. That's gonna make Holy
no.
Paladin so fucking consistent because they're just gonna immediately play Karya and top deck Smite the next turn.
Oh my god! Stop. Shh.
Yeah, this card is.
They're not gonna do that.
Yeah, we used to have a card like this. That was a neutral card called Polkelt, and it was 4 mana, 4/5, and it did the same thing, but it didn't draw a card as well. This is 2 mana less, and you draw a card with it. Yeah, this card, like, even just like the draw, like, even if like the reordering isn't even crazy, like you're still like, this card is insane. I don't know, like I haven't even thought about like the combos that you can do with this. Like I don't even want to think about it probably, but I'm sure there's some pretty crazy things that you could do with it. And if you can't do those crazy things right now, I'm sure at some point within like while this card is in standard, this will get crazy. That is a very powerful and scary effect to have.
Yeah, there's no way this card doesn't see play eventually, and then the deck that it's played in isn't a very good deck, like for sure.
Yeah, and this has been talked about a lot on Twitter. A lot of discussion about this card. There's a lot of people that love cards like this that allow them to set up these combos and everything. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess that's it for this card. No. But
yeah, I mean, there's nothing else to say. Like, I got nothing. And like, I'm not a fan of Paladin. I'm not a fan of Cariel. I'm not a fan of Mr. Smite. And I don't want to give anybody any ideas, so I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, but I don't think we have to. It's so obvious how easy that this just buffs the Holy Paladin and makes it have a lot more redundancy.
All right, fair enough. We have one last card here before maybe a little Q&A. But the last card is a Demon Hunter card. It's Prosecutor Meltronix, 4 mana, 2/6 demon, Battle Cry, and this is a legendary. Battle Cry, your opponent can only play their left and rightmost cards on their next turn. So a little similar to Okani.
I think it's better
in a sense, but yeah, it's definitely seems kind of crazy. It's of course horrible if your opponent has like a small hand, but
it's only bad against aggro, and then it's not like super bad against aggro because you're still playing a 4 mana 2/6, and this eats aggro boards. You know what I mean? Like even if it does nothing and you're playing against an aggro deck, it's still not that bad, right? Because you just played a 4 mana 2/6, which means you're gonna get like 3 value trades off of it, and or that like that's too much damage for them to sink into a minion anyway. For most aggro decks, right? You can't sink 6.
Yeah, I mean they could also just ignore it, and like it only gets 1 trade per turn. And it's like kind of slow. Like the stats are not insane. It doesn't have taunt or something, but
it does have a nice booty though.
That's fair. But yeah, I mean, more disruption, a lot of disruption cards being printed, which I said was exactly what the game needed coming into this year. I think that's exactly what we were lacking, so it's nice that they're going for that approach. Didn't expect this many disruption cards, so it's kind of crazy. But yeah, this is like a new form of disruption. So it's like it's a really cool flavor for Demon Hunter to have. Demon Hunter always gets the cool fucking abilities that we never see, like no other classes get, whatever. But yeah, this is like
it's the cool disruption.
This is like
that's
reverse
like
outcast.
It's outcast for your opponent. Yeah, it's outcast for your opponent,
which is really cool to see.
And the nice thing is, this card is one of the cards that has it isn't. I mean, you are not letting your opponent play the game. But if you think about how people react to Okani, even though Okani wins a lot of games, people don't ever say like, yo, nerf Okani. You know, like people like Okani because your opponent making the right decision of when to play the game means they made a skillful play, right? They did a good play. If you use Okani and block the right thing, most of the time people are willing to lose for that circumstance because their opponent just did a very skillful maneuver of when they decided to use that card. This card's gonna feel similar. It will probably feel bad though when like people are in relic decks when you Relic of Dimensions and then play a free Phantasms for 8/8s and then play this for free next to it, because that's gonna happen all the fucking time now. You know, like people are gonna draw this off of Phantasms, get like a 0 mana Phantasms for some giant jade statues, and they're gonna slap this right next to it, and then you're gonna be like, okay, how do I deal with this board immediately? And if they don't, then you win. So I imagine it'll make a Relic Demon Hunter deck way better, just because this card being 0 is like a Lotheb. So
Yeah, I mean, I think you're talking about Relic of Dimensions instead of Phantasms, but yeah,
Sorry, I mean, like if you play Phantasms for free though, which
yeah.
happens all the time, right? Because there's a lot of turns. Like I know you play the deck now, where you drew one off of Phantasms, and then you're deciding should I just develop these guys right now for the pressure that it does on the board, or should I wait to vault these later? And
Mm-hmm.
there's moments where you decide like, all right, fuck it, I'm just gonna play the Phantasms right now, just to add the pressure on the board. If you have this card additionally in your hand, then you might just win the turn off of your dimension roll. You know, like you summon the cards to develop, you build the board, and then you slap this right down next to it, and then you're, you know, suddenly on turn 6, we might be like, oh shit, like I win.
Yeah, I mean, not
Because
only
like
is
most of
this,
the time,
yeah,
if you have to hit it off a second half of dimensions in a normal curve, and it'll be free. But if not, it'll be 1. You know, because like 3 and 4 is what the is the mana cost of the first dimensions that's getting reduced to 0, which is why I said Phantasms, because that costs 0 if you're doing a 3 relic dimension vault on turn 5, and this will cost 1 to 0. So
yeah. I mean,
that'll be good.
not only is this card good with developed board, but it's also just good at stalling out in some cases. Like you can play this to, and maybe your opponent has like an expensive card on their left and right, and then they can't do anything that turn, and then you just go into your dimensions like without even having to deal, like without even your opponent being able to create anything on board or do something to kind of mess you up a little bit. And then like at the same time, what else was I gonna say? It's also cool because it does form a little bit of like a play around kind of thing by your opponent. So maybe if I have 2 options for my turn, maybe I want to use my leftmost card to make the leftmost card now something like, just in case my opponent plays Prosecutor, I want to be a little prepared for it. So maybe instead of making a different play, maybe I'll set up my hand a little bit just to, like, maybe I'll put a Whirlpool on the left side of my hand because this is a possibility, you know.
Will
Yeah.
suddenly make all of the other classes that play against Demon Hunter have to think about hand positioning the whole
Yeah.
game, which is like an interesting thing now, because like whenever they introduce cards like that, the counterplay becomes like I don't know, very next level. And I think that's like what really good Hearthstone players kind of like in the game, is like Okani allows basically changed the game in the perspective that every player now had to think when they're playing against an Okani deck, like, do I lose if my opponent plays Okani and blocks spell, because I need to use that spell on turn 6 to keep playing the game? Where this card now makes people think about the positioning of cards in their hands. Welcome to my life. Love it.
Yeah, and it's interesting because in Magic, like you can just change the cards like around in your hand.
Yeah.
You can just like change the positioning of them. So it's definitely an interesting card in comparison to like other card games that like Hearthstone, you cannot change where the cards are in your hand.
Must construct additional pylons. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, those are all the cards we have to talk about today. There's definitely more cards out there for you to look at if you want to go to the Play Hearthstone website, go to the library, and go to Murder at Castle Nathria. You can see the new cards, and then there's a schedule where they're dropping more. I don't know how many cards we are yet to see, but the mini set is coming up very soon. It's dropping on Tuesday, 1 p.m. EST, and we have some more cards to see still. It's very exciting. It should be quite a. It should cause quite I mean, it's gonna make some decks that are out there a lot more powerful, but it should cause like some bit of a mix up in the meta, and we're gonna see a lot of experiments because this power level of the mini set is so high that it's gotta definitely change some stuff that's going on. So that's always nice to see. Like
For sure.
yeah. Like we, of course, like power creep is like kind of like a double-edged sword, but it's always nice to have a mix up. And like if the mini set didn't really do anything to the meta, then we'd just be like the same kind of stuff, just like really stale, just for another couple months or whatever until the new expansion. So yeah, cool to see.
It also stinks because they're releasing this mini set one day after Wrath of the Lich King. Wrath of the Lich King comes out tomorrow, and then a mini set the day after. So I don't even know what I'm gonna do. I'm in shambles.
Well,
disaster.
Hang in there, Rob.
we're rooting for you.
Okay.
I don't know. We could do a little bit of Q&A. I mean, we're at the hour mark. We could probably just end it here if you guys want. Yeah.
Sounds
I'm
good.
cool with that.
All right. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. We'd love to hear what you thought about the podcast in the chat. It would be amazing. And if you liked it, and maybe you're new to the podcast, you're like, whoa, I've just discovered this insanely amazing podcast. I really want to watch this every week for the rest of my life. Well, if you want to do that, we do this every Sunday at 1 p.m. EST, asterisk. But yeah, hope you come by. Next week it's going to be on Warshack's channel. We switch it up. It might be on it's either my channel or Warshack's channel. And we're planning on.
What are we gonna do for TwitchCon? We're gonna have to do an IRL.
We could, or we could not do it.
MetaBreakers.
Like both of them are pretty good options, in my opinion.
Too much blah 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 about League of Legends. Fair enough. Dota 2 is better though. But anyway, you should you should check out. We put these episodes on Warshack's YouTube channel, and we also are going to be getting these podcast episodes on your favorite podcast platforms like Spotify and whatever else there is for that. So check that out, and whatever they are. And if you want to check out our fellow podcast co-hosts, their channels right there. Check out Warshack and Draco Cat on their Twitch channels, and check out their YouTubes as well while you're at it. After you've subscribed to mine, by the way. But
just do that first,
yes.
evidently.
But yeah, thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Have a good one, guys. Have a good rest of your weekend chat, and have a good stream, Dan.